as of this morning, we are getting some very troubling headlines coming out of Binance today. So I want to spend the first half of this video just going over the facts, so you have all the information you need as a crypto investor. And then following, we'll take a look at price. We'll talk about my strategy, what I'm doing as an investor. So breaking news as of today, turns out, and this is being reported from Forbes, Binance moved over $1.8 billion in stablecoin collateral to hedge funds last year. This meant that over $1 billion worth of stablecoin tokens, specifically B-pegged USDC, so Binance's version of USDC, were uncollateralized despite Binance's claim that they were 100% backed. In other words, what does that mean? It means that cryptocurrency exchange Binance moved $1.8 billion of collateral meant to back its customer stablecoins to hedge funds. So number one, how do we know this? We know this because Forbes analyzed the on-chain data, which we're about to go over. And then number two, why this is concerning to me is because this obviously puts users' funds at risk if it turns out they're uncollateralized, which regulators would have a big problem with, I would assume. Not that this is Binance US. Binance US is regulated. The news today is for regular Binance, the #1 cryptocurrency exchange in the world by trading volume. According to the report, Binance transferred the collateral to hedge funds, including Alameda and Cumberland/DRW, and did so without informing its customers. According to the blockchain data from August 17th to early December last year, examined by Forbes, a period which encompasses the collapse of fellow crypto exchange FTX, holders of more than $1 billion of crypto for B-pegged USDC tokens had no collateral for instruments that Binance said would be fully backed by the token they were pegged to. So how would you feel if you had funds on Binance, say you held this stablecoin in your account in Binance? You would think this is backed 1-to-1 for every stablecoin I own. There should be a dollar representing that, correct? And I guess there was, just many of those stablecoins were transferred to hedge funds like Alameda for Binance's own personal benefit. Now, to be fair, Binance's chief strategy officer, Patrick Hillman, told Forbes the movement of money among wallets was common practice and not a problem. There was no commingling, Hillman said, because there's wallets and there's a ledger. So I think he's saying that, yes, we transfer them to different wallets owned by Binance, but it's all public on the ledger. All those wallets were under our entity. Now, I will give Binance credit. This was months ago. They fixed the problem. We only know this information because Forbes looked at the on-chain data. But why this sort of rubbed me the wrong way is because this is money that's supposed to be backing your stablecoin, and it's not BUSD. We'll get to that in a minute. This is truly Binance's version of USDC. Shouldn't Binance have enough money that they don't need to commingle? They don't refer to this as commingling. They say all the same ledger, all their own wallets. But shouldn't Binance have enough money that this shouldn't even be an issue? Now, of course, on the very same day, Coinbase came out with this announcement. Coinbase announces the suspension of BUSD, so that's a different stablecoin. This was B-pegged USDC, so Binance's version of USDC. This is the suspension of BUSD, the suspension of trading beginning March 13th. This decision will apply to Coinbase.com, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Exchange, Coinbase Prime. So the entity as a whole, and the exchange did say, your BUSD funds will remain accessible to you, and you will continue to have the ability to withdraw your funds at any time. Meaning this is not a hard stop, this is a slow phase out. And in a direct quote from Coinbase, they say, our determination to suspend trading for BUSD is based on our own internal monitoring and review process. When reviewing BUSD, we determined that it no longer met our listing standards and will be suspended. So what were those listing standards that suddenly BUSD didn't comply with? Well, according to the Coinbase website, its digital asset listings group votes on assets to be listed on the exchange, informed by a rigorous vetting/review process that evaluates assets against legal, compliance, and technical security standards. So while they didn't give a specific reason for BUSD we're left to assume that all of a sudden BUSD didn't either meet legal or compliance or technical security standards. So while some people may say this announcement on its own, very small detail in the grand scheme of things, to me, this is sort of a signal of a much bigger war we're seeing on the crypto regulatory front. And I'm not trying to say one's right or one's wrong, or we should have all regulated or none regulated. I'm just simply pointing out a trend we're seeing globally right now. And even though I think Kevin O'Leary can be a clown oftentimes with his crypto takes, and by the way, CZ, big respect for CZ. I think CZ is a shark in business. Kevin O'Leary just plays him on TV. But nonetheless, this is the guy that Congress, for some reason, keeps inviting to testify. This is the guy teaching our regulators.
So right now, take for example, BNB is 64 billion of market cap. The only reason to own that token on Binance is to get a discount on trading fees. What's the intrinsic value of that token? Nothing. It doesn't give you access to the equity of the company. Now, if you go look at the wallets, there's only 2 wallets that have 97% of all of those tokens. I wonder who owns those. What happens if one of them says, I want cash? Does Binance have 34 billion USD of cash? I don't think so. So my whole point is these things will keep blowing up over and over and over again. And finally, the senators are saying on these committees, we're done.
When he says that the only utility for BNB, the coin, is discounts on the exchange, that was true 5 years ago. That was a 2017 narrative that he's trying to bring back in 2023. Today, and subscribers of this channel know this, it is a dApp platform like an Ethereum, and we're seeing more and more quality projects pop up on Binance Chain. But to me, the narrative right now in Washington is clearly, let's regulate this space. Unfortunately, they seem to have picked a face for the unregulated side of crypto. They seem to have picked a common enemy in Binance. And by the way, so many of our senators are on our side fighting for us.
I encourage my colleagues to understand Sam Bankman-Fried's con for what it is, a failure of centralization. Decentralization is the point.
So as these invisible lines are drawn in cryptocurrency, it seems to me that many people are willing to stand up and fight for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for more decentralized protocols. Yet, when they need to pick an enemy, they'll dig up the data on the more centralized entities. So as I look into the future of cryptocurrency, the short-term future, I'm talking this year into the next few years. By the way, I'm not a registered financial advisor. I'm just speaking for me, what I'm doing. I do not know the future. And also realize I was never a huge holder of BNB in the first place. I was much more, if you're picking dApp platforms, I was much more an Ethereum than Cardano, more of a decentralized dApp platform guy generally. But I guess I'm just trying to articulate that this move isn't a huge shift for me, just sort of a slight rebalancing as we look into the future on a few specific key factors. Number one, the 200-week moving average. By the way, this is the Bitcoin price chart. This is the 200 weekly MA. And until we not only break out, but also get a confirmation that we have turned that 200 weekly into support instead of resistance, we are not in a confirmed bull market. Meaning Bitcoin dominance against altcoins, Bitcoin dominance in a bear market is usually going to trend up. And by the way, looking at the BNB chart against the US dollar, so the price of BNB right now, you may be saying, Austin, damn, you're really late to the party. If you're going to sell, you should have sold at either the top of early 2021 or later in 2021, where BNB was around $650, $660. Now we're near half that. Well, correct. But if we take a look at not Binance versus the US dollar, but BNB versus BTC, in this bear market, BNB has held up exceptionally well, relatively speaking. In this chart, against the Bitcoin price, we can see Binance tokens value actually topped out at the end of 2022, very recently, not 2021 like the rest of the altcoins. And why is that? Well, a huge reason is because FTX collapsed, people needed to find a different exchange, and of course Binance was the hero at that time, calling out FTX for their illegal behavior, allegedly. So people switched to Binance, BNB kept rising. We have taken a dip in the short term, but again, it's held up pretty damn well in this bear. I personally think that while yes, there's been a huge amount of FUD against Binance, they're a juggernaut, they're so huge, they're probably not going away. I think they'll probably be fine. Of course, anything can happen, I can't see the future. But to me, it does sort of seem that the trend has officially changed, and at least for the next few years, the trend is DeFi, the trend is regulated CeFi, and it's hard to have an exchange token fit into DeFi, although it is technically Binance Smart Chain. So again, if I'm picking projects I believe in most, I want to fight for the most, that would be Bitcoin, that would be Ethereum, that would be the more decentralized dApp platforms, and also some regulated CeFi platforms. I think both have their place. Binance right now, I think the saying is neither fish nor fowl, meaning it doesn't really fit a category. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then obviously this would be a loss. But again, it's not like I'm getting rid of Binance and just going into cash. I'm saying, hey, I'd rather weight my portfolio a little bit more to these other more decentralized dApp platforms. If you feel you got value in today's video, please give the video a like. It supports me. And of course, be sure to come hang with us, join us for Bitcoin 2023, awesome conference in Miami Beach in May, and use code Altcoin Daily for 10% off your ticket, link down below.